People sometimes end up dating outside of their race because they're not accepted within their own. That's what happens. Now, as I've said in the past, I can only speak about black and white because I'm brown. I'm a black person. So I will talk about what I know in my backyard. You guys may know more about your culture and why you may remain. You're only allowed to date within your own race or culture, or why you may go outside of your race. I'm here to talk about what I know. And even though I am black and brown, it does not mean that I speak for everybody that looks like me, because what people don't realize, there is diversity and many different cultures with that are brown. We are not all the same. You know, an African, a Jamaican, someone that's born in Brazil, other people that are born in the United Kingdom in different places, and Australia. Everyone have their own cultural norms. So not all black people are created equal and are exactly the same. Nevertheless, we have one thing in common, and it is our brown skin. And with a brown skin, we may get equal praise as well as equal discrimination and such. So just to keep things in our own backyard, I'll talk about, why I believe my experience as being a black person and my friends and those I've seen and having traveled to different places and just the different experiences. Sometimes what will happen is people will end up, a black person, let's say, ends up dating someone who is a completely different race. Okay. Now, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I always have my disclaimer. And the thing that I don't like is when any black man or any black woman, they decide they want to date a different race, and then they begin to disparage and speak down on every other black person, which I feel really they're degrading themselves, and it's disrespectful to other people. For example, you have some black men that will go to someone who's non-black, and then they're saying, well, all black women are like this and are like that. No, every black woman is not like that. Okay, can't say every black woman, they don't have anything and they're all messed up and they're all lazy and they're all this, because I'm not lazy. I have my own things. I don't speak loud and ghetto, or whatever they want to call it. We're not all the same way. And I know a lot of established black women who are not that way, who have their own things. Okay, so, and then you have some black women, they go to a non-black partner, they're saying, oh, all black men are this way and that way. And I'm like, no, I know a lot of black men who are established, who have their life together, who are not, they've never been to prison, never been to jail. They're doing well in their lives. They've accomplished things and they're accomplishing things. Okay. So there has to be a balance. And yes, there are black men and women who are not doing the things that they need to do. They are being irresponsible, but there's white people doing that too. There are people who are Indian that are doing that. There are people who are African who are doing that. It's not just one race, but it seems as if what you're going to see more in your face, it seems like it's just a black or a white world, but there are lots of people in between there, right? So it's like we are the highlights of society. So, as I always said, what can end up happening is you have those who are trying to escape their people. They're trying to run up north to the white people or to anybody who's not black to be set free. Okay. But the thing about these type of individuals that do that, they have a self-hatred, and that's why they speak so poorly and so negatively about their own people, or they have messed up and screwed over so many people in their community that they feel like, let me go over here and behave differently, and I'm going to be with someone who's probably going to probably tolerate me a little bit more, or their culture means they're more mild, or I can just start over here, but I've created carnage in my own community. Okay, so people like that who have self-hatred and they decide that they want to go over there a lot of times, or they want to go with other people, other cultures, what ends up happening is they end up messing up the lives of those individuals that they're with, male or females. Because the reason why, guys, when people are saying all black men are dogs, or all oh, black women are this way. No. Look at the populace. Look at how many black women are on the planet. Are you trying to let us believe, or black women in your community or in your country, you have dated every last one of them? You know every last one? You've dated every black man? You haven't. Okay? But if you want to say all black men, it means that you have been with a lot of them, or the community or individual or the community that you're in, they're behaving the same way. And that sometimes happens based on the community you are in, where a lot of people are going to just follow the cultural norms for their community and, for their households, etc., etc. Right? But what will happen is, if that person does not deal with themselves and they just say, I'm just going to go over here and do differently, what they're going to do is, let me go back a little bit. The reason why that man or woman will keep experiencing a certain type of person has to do with the choices that they're making. So a lot of times there's something within them that keeps them choosing certain type of individuals, and they experience the same things over and over again. If they don't deal with that, and if they don't come to terms with who they are, what their shortcomings may be, what their insecurities may be in some cases, they're going to carry that same mindset and have that same mentality when they're dating someone who is of a different race. What they're going to do, they're going to go over there and take that same behavior and those same habits and those same sort of responses. They're going to take that there, and they're going to now trigger and even gaslight these individuals, all right? Blame them, even guilt them. They're supposed to feel bad for them because, oh, this is a black person that's coming from this culture. Let me adjust. Let me understand that they have been demonized and hurt. And they can weaponize that, and they'll become a burden to their non-black partners. You see what I'm saying? So they will have to deal with themselves, and they will go there and they'll be just as callous and careless in their relationships, their interracial relationships. They will now become the aggressor. They have a gentle husband, they have a meek husband, a mild wife, different things of that nature, but they are carrying that aggression with them, those behaviors with them, and then they're going to, have displacement and abuse this really nice and gentle person. I see it a lot. Sometimes I see that with interracial couples. The woman is being aggressive, or the guy is being aggressive, and this woman is so sweet and so kind and so quiet. And you realize what they want to do is to find people that has a lot of love to offer, and they still carry all those habits there. If you could imagine, they have all these little spots all over them and all these battle wounds all over them. They still going over there with the PTSD. They're still triggered. They're still hurt. They're still wounded. They still have all sort of shrapnel from where they came from, not dealing with themselves, blaming all the black men, blaming all the black women. That's a dangerous sign. If they're blaming all black men, black women, they're not taking responsibility for their own choices, and they're going to keep it going in their interracial relationship. So that one group of individuals are the ones that are, when they're going to be with somebody else, they're just carrying their burdens elsewhere, and they are going to go there and turn paradise into a hovel. Now, the other group I'm talking about are people that you may love your community, you love your people, but you're not accepted. Why you're not accepted? Because you don't think the same way as the rest of your brown friends. You like different music. You have a different perspective of things. You may choose to speak in a way that they don't like. Well, why don't you talk like this? Why don't you do the stuff that we do? Why are you interested in that? Why do you want to go here? We want to hang out here. We want to do this. And then they may say that you're white. You sound white. You're acting white. What do you want to listen to that white music for? Why do you want to go to the museum? We want to hang out. What do you mean? You like anime. You like this. You like that. Oh, that's corny. That's this. Sometimes they don't even like you. The black guy is trying to date the black girl, but she don't like him. She's saying he's ugly. The black girl wants to go with the black guys, but they're telling her she's ugly. So what ends up happening is they end up going where they fit in. I have a video that's going to be coming out. It's just going to talk about how God places you where he needs to place you, regardless of what you look like. You shouldn't be sitting there thinking, oh, well, I can't be with these people, or I can't hang out with those people because I'm black or I'm white. You are kindred spirits, so it doesn't matter. You have the same interests. So what ends up happening is sometimes certain black people ends up being ostracized by their own people because they are different and they don't think the same exact way. And it's not that they're against them, but they do critical thinking, spatial thinking, reasoning, not just going along with everything because, oh, I'm supposed to, because that's what I'm supposed to do. They may question things. They may not be into fighting. I don't want to fight. I don't want to do this way. I don't want to hang out late. I want to go to bed early. I have to do my homework. I have to do my projects. I'm respectful. I don't want to do this particular thing. Whatever it may be, that will be the norm for the society. That black man, that black woman from a young age, probably even among their own cousins and friends, and especially when you get in school, they begin to see that they're fitting in, and they're not normally around the other black kids. And when they are, they're trying very hard to fit in. They want to fit in. They're just being themselves, but in being themselves, they're not being accepted and they're being teased. So what happens later on in life, they end up changing circles, and they end up being around mostly white people for business in the neighborhoods, whatever. Friends are white or non-black. And here's the irony. Now they're being blamed for that. Now the black people are talking about them and saying, oh, you're a sellout. All you do is hang out with white people. Then being made fun of. Oh, you listen to white music. You listen to this. You do this. You're weird. You're odd. Why? Because you have a different interest, because they think that all black people are supposed to be listening to music with a lot of bass, a lot of profanity. You're supposed to dress a certain way, and that could be another thing, making fun of the way that you dress. You may have a unique flair, a unique way that you put yourself together. You're neat. Your pants are not hanging down. You're not wearing what everybody else is wearing. You're wearing simple earrings. You're wearing a nice top, and they'll say that you're dressing like, someone from the Brady Bunch. Oh, you think you're white. You think you Martha Stewart. You're walking around with your sweater tied around your neck for. Oh, you looking for me to strangle you? Okay, come here. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes the hurt that they experience and being ostracized because they are different, because it's not that the person's even hurting and harming anybody. They may like listening to other things. When I was coming up, I listened to different kinds of music. I mean, I was at home listening to Hot 97. We was blasting music when mom and dad was at home. Reggae, soca, all of that. But I like classical music. There was this radio station I found, and they play, I guess it will be like elevator music, but I like that music. I like classical music. As I got further, I listened to different things. I actually had a roommate when I was in the military, and she was listening to Linkin Park. And I actually like Linkin Park. I like the music. I mean, I don't listen to like heavy metal because to me, I just can't get into that. It's just too noisy for me. I feel restless and tired and just like, just aggravated. I'm sorry for those of you who like heavy metal. I just can't. But to each his own, okay? But Linkin Park was the first time I actually listened to something that was like, wow, this is cool. You know what I'm saying? And then I actually started listening to the words, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then got a little further, listening to Eminem coming up and all of that, because all I knew was like black rappers. And then here's Eminem, and I was like, oh, he's kind of nice, But I listened to different things. And my taste has evolved. I listen to all kinds of different things. Even when I was visiting churches, guys, I've gone to church where, okay, the band is just boom. And I've been to churches where all they have was a piano and a violin. It's still church. I've been in churches where they sing out of the hymn books. And that was when the Lord was just taking me on this journey of showing me worship worship is not just one dimensional. It's not just one sound. Everything doesn't have to be loud and pop in all the time. You can also sing out of a hymnal. You can also sit here and listen to someone play a piano, in my opinion, that needed to be tuned up. But I was like, wow. And what that forces you to do, as I go off on a side note here, is that you're not being moved by your emotions. It's you and God and that piano. And that's going to let you know right there, can you really do this? You know, what is your relationship like with the Lord? Can you really connect with God with a piano? So let's get back to that. So when these individuals are now ostracized and they're married to someone who's white or just a different race that's not black, now they're being attacked for that. And you're a sellout and you're this and you're a that. But that person is not a sellout. It has nothing to do with that. This is who they fell in love with. This is who they connect with. And their friends are not saying to them, oh, why are you listening to our music or anything like that. As a matter of fact, they have the freedom to ask each other the questions that can be asked among friends to get a better understanding without people being offended. So you have friends. I've had friends that have asked me about my hair. White people asked me about my hair. I remember I went off the basic and people only seen a black person for the first time. And they were so fascinated that, my hair and how I can comb it and it just stay in that direction. And so they asked. I was not offended that they touched it and asked me about it because they're genuinely curious. You know what I mean? That's the connection there, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I want anybody who you are black or any race and you fall in love with someone and you have friends of a different culture, you embrace that and don't let people make you feel bad and guilty about that, because sometimes you can have strongholds in your communities and even in your own house, and it's just this habit. It's like this way of being. It's like the puppeteer of your culture. This is how you're supposed to act. This is what you're supposed to do. And if you're going in a different direction, they're going to attack you. But at the same time, they don't want to accept you. Sometimes I watch documentaries and I'm looking at people in certain countries and they are ostracized among their people. They will be considered to be failures. And I'm looking at them like, oh my gosh, they are so beautiful. They're so gorgeous with their education or even the simplicity of the things that they know. I'm like, you guys will be doing great in America. But within their own community and their own people, they're treated like nothing. One of the communities I know of is like in India, and I believe they're called the Dalits. Okay, to me, when I see them, they're beautiful. They're super dark, coal black skin. They're so pretty to me. Okay, they're beautiful, but in their community, they're like nobodies. The dark skinned Indians, oh no, And then depending on, I forgot what you guys call it, the caste. Oh no, honey, if you're not in that caste, I know is it the Dalits? They are not in. There's a god that they worship, and each caste represents a different part of that god. So the head will represent this caste, then the arms and all this stuff, and then the legs, and then you have the Dalits, and they're like, no, y'all gonna be street sweepers, cleaners. You guys gonna clean up the poop. You are the ones that burn all the dead bodies. You do all the dirty work. You're slaves to us. And they abuse them and mistreat them. But when I look at them, I see beautiful people. There's some people in Asian countries too. I see people where they're saying in Asia, this guy's considered unattractive. This woman is considered unattractive. I'm looking at her like, she is beautiful. She's gorgeous. But yet they are ostracized in their community. And then you have people, brown people, right? Black people, they're saying, you're ugly, you're this, you're that. But there's another person that thinks our brown skin is so beautiful. They love our skin. They love our hair. I remember when I was in Germany, oh my gosh, I was like, no. It wasn't that I was being racist. I wasn't interested, but those men were like, wanted to go out with me. I remember this one guy, he wanted to go out with me so badly, like the whole time I was there. He was a polizei. It's a police officer. And I was like, no. And some people may say, oh, they just wanted, they just wanted to taste your chocolate droppings. It's possible. They get curious. Sometimes they just want to know that stuff. But there's a lot of these men that married and took and loved on these black women. When I went to Paris, I was walking around. It was like almost every other couple I saw a black women, African women with white men. So there are women that black men marry them and treat them very well. And then they're being called sellouts for that. There are black men who they marry and they have beautiful wives. Beautiful, ordinary, beautiful. They love each other. And that man is being treated well. He's being treated with respect. He's being honored as a man. And what? Then the community will say, oh, you just want a handmaiden, and you just want this and you just want that. But it's not that. They love each other and they work with each other. I feel that when people come together, you should not go into this community with your burdens. As I told you, remember I started off my video talking about this group of brown people that have issues that go on the other side with all their luggage, and then they end up taking advantage of those men and women because they have a different demeanor. If a black woman who's used to arguing all the time and carrying on, and she's used to dealing with these thugs, and then she's like, I'm gonna date me an Asian man, and she gets with a Korean man. A lot of times that Korean man, his disposition is gonna be very different. He's going to be more soft-spoken, maybe. Okay? Maybe. I'm not saying all of them are. There's some that's loud. But this one may be soft-spoken. He does not like confrontation. But if she goes there and she's carrying on and have that same aggressive behavior, he's going to shrink back. A lot of times she might get her own way, but at the same time, he's frustrated. But because he comes from a culture where they don't really talk about their feelings, they don't really say things, he may keep it all bottled up inside. She's getting all her needs met. She's getting what she want to do. He's doing everything she wants him to do, but he's unhappy. But he has a certain level of integrity to say, I'm going to stay with her, but he does not get what he needs. And the same thing can happen with a black man getting with a different woman who is non-black. They carry that burden, and they're just destroying lives. It just is not as obvious because they know they can't do that with another black person. They will hear about it, right? So that in that scenario, it's wrong. But I say that sometimes you're not accepted in your culture for different reasons, because of your interests, because you don't follow what everybody else is doing. And there's nothing wrong with you. God has just placed things within us that makes us different, but there's other people that you'll connect with. And if that means you're connected with perhaps others like you, who looks like you, and those who do not, different cultures, don't let those cultural barriers keep you there. Don't allow anyone to cause you to muzzle yourself and not do the things that you like doing because you're going, well, according to my skin tone and my culture, I shouldn't like this. I shouldn't like ballet. For brown people, may say, well, you're supposed to either play basketball, football, or dancing, or be in the music industry. But, well, you want to learn to play golf. You want to learn to play tennis. You may want to do fencing. Fencing is those are expensive lessons, okay? That's what you want to do it, right? And don't let barriers stop you. I remember a long time ago seeing a girl, she was ice skating. I want to say it was back in the 80s. A lot of you probably wasn't born then. But she was so good. I can't remember her name. She was a dark-skinned girl. She was super strong. I think this is the first girl that could actually do a backflip. Okay, and she was doing that. I mean, the girl's performance was outstanding. But you know what? She got the lowest scores. It was terrible. Okay. Those are the things, guys, that can be discouraging, especially when you're trying to do something that's different. People may try to not accept you, but even if they don't accept you, or they are being unfair in their judgments of you, you keep doing what you need to do. Because if you're persistent and you're consistent in what you need to do, somebody in that group's going to say, you know what, we're doing something wrong. They may not care for you, but you be consistent in what you're doing. And believe me, when you're faithful and do what you have to do and don't allow the majority to set you back, somebody in their group is going to see, is going to say something, and they're going to have a change of heart. If anything, they have to respect you for your integrity and for your persistence. You get what I'm saying? Embrace who you are. Continue on the path that you're on. You don't have to like certain kinds of music just because you are black. And you don't have to dress a certain way because you are black. You want to wear something different. You want to put a slacks on. You want to wear a certain type of shirt. You want to dress a certain type of way. You speak a certain type of way. That's okay. And you know, sometimes we have ways that we talk around our homegirls, our friends. That's different. That's fine. But at the end of it all, you know how to speak with intelligence. You know how to do different things. And you should not feel ashamed and feel out of place and make you feel bad because you love somebody, or you are good friends with someone, or you fit in better with a group that doesn't look like you. Because again, it is not about your skin tone, but the fact that you are kindred spirits. So embrace it and have fun. I hope this helps somebody. I don't know if this is just, you're like, what are you talking about? But the thing is, black people, stop it. Brown people, some of you guys, you're mistreating your folks, making them feel like they don't fit in, laughing at them, rejecting them. And then as life goes on and they evolve and they're in a different group, that's not you guys. Or they move to a different country and they live somewhere across on the other side of the globe. You guys have an attitude now and call them sellouts and tell them, oh, you're trying to be this, you're trying to be that, and you don't want to be around your family. It's not that. This person's being true to themselves. You didn't accept him. You didn't accept her. So they had to go, and their destiny brought them to a place with the people that they can blend in. They can be fine. They can be themselves. They can learn about one another. They can fall in love. They can marry. And that's what it is. I saw a wedding of this woman not too long ago. She was a black woman. And it was really ironic that there was nobody at her wedding. Nobody was at her wedding. Correction, guys. There was nobody from her family at the wedding. But the venue was still packed. And she was saying, like, her parents were saying, oh, they don't like to fly and they fear flying. And guys, that's just not an excuse in my opinion, okay? But you know what? She had this beautiful Korean wedding. And she had a gorgeous wedding, and even though her family wasn't there, she was embraced, and they had a lot of people around her, and she was in the traditional Korean clothing and all of that, and it was beautiful. And so sometimes, even when your own will reject you or disappoint you or hold on to their fears and don't come for the things that's super important to you, whatever the reason. I mean, she spoke very highly of them, and I'm not trying to talk down on them, but somebody could have showed up, okay? Everybody had a reason. So what's going to happen is, who doesn't show up for you, God will have people who will embrace you, because that girl's wedding was beautiful. And you saw how much she was loved and how much she was accepted, despite the differences. And despite, I'm sure there got to be somebody who may have felt a certain way, but the majority loved and accepted her. And they were not her people. They were not her own people. They were not her family. So that's the irony of being true to yourself, going with who you love, who is a good friend to you, and don't look at your skin tone. And don't be held back by culture and color and what people want to say to critique you. All right, guys, peace.